For round 2, we want to showcase the great meaty parts of our project. We will be showcasing how we divide up the project into 3 main phases, some performance tasks and benchmarks that are within the phases, and student work samples.
When we plan for the project each year, we make sure that there are 3 main parts to the learning happening in our classrooms. The first phase is focused around identifying what agency and perseverance is. We read high-quality text each day where the students look at character traits, how the student interacts with the plot, and the lesson the author is trying to teach us about being a better person. Each day, students read and reflect. They identify with book characters that are experiencing challenges, and they learn how to overcome them. They also do a SMART Strengths activity where they find their top 5 traits. This requires digging deep within themselves to truly understand themselves. They also are able to identify their classmates' top 5 traits in a gallery walk type activity. We continue to celebrate these character traits throughout the duration of the project. This portion of the project usually lasts around 2 to 3 weeks. After we do all of this learning, we reflect using the agency rubric on their SMART strengths.
The second phase is the 2 weeks of focused learning around the beneficiary. Each year, this changes. We have benefited several local causes. Last year, we benefited the local neighborhood center. We were able to visit the center during these 2 weeks, along with having guest speakers from the center in our classrooms. In this instance, the director, Christine Garner, came to speak about how the center helps our community. After hearing what they do, several students realized this directly affected them and their family. In other past years, we have had Mike Height, superintendent of the Parks Department, and Laura Mann, disaster assistant, come in to talk about the parks and flood relief aid in our community. Along with community partners, we read a lot of nonfiction texts to better understand our beneficiary. From learning about philanthropy, charity, and fundraising, to military personnel, natural disasters, and people living with disabilities. We focus our learning around our cause that year. A main goal for our students is to grasp after these 2 weeks of learning is the trait of empathy. An example of student work from these 2 weeks would be our flood relief plan, where students took what Laura Mann talked about and made a natural disaster plan for their family. We focused on the major natural disasters in Indiana, and students worked on a presentation to discuss their plan for their family in a case of an emergency. Students talked and asked questions with Mike Height. From the answers they received, they created a landscape plan as a group. They researched native plants in Indiana and plants that the Parks Department wanted to be present in the park. They drew up and explained their choices. They were able to send the plans to the Parks Department for them to look over and choose one plan. Another example, after students learned about the neighborhood center and how they helped others in the community, students came up with kindness plans. They were grouped based on passion within choices and met with who they were going to donate their time to in our school. After discussing with their partner within the school, the group spent time helping someone else. There was a group who helped fold clothes with the nurse, another group who helped a group of students in another grade with their math and reading, and yet another group who cleaned tables in the cafeteria.
The third phase consists of learning about our physical health and wellness. Our very own local Ironman, Eric Halsapel, comes in to talk to the learners about personal health, how to train for a race for an extended period of time, and quite honestly lights a fire in them to train and work hard. We then use that enthusiasm to kick up our classroom training a notch. We will run outside daily, weather permitting. On days we are not able to run, we choose fitness videos and do a whole class workout. We've been known to head down to the gym and run a few line drills and do some wall sits, but don't worry, we always join them. In the classroom, we cover the main body systems: muscular, skeletal, endocrine, circulatory, and digestive. Students create diagrams, do scientific writing, and hands-on exploratory labs to learn more. Example labs include doing a series of exercises and then identifying what muscles we had just used, and then marking them on a diagram. For the digestive system, we focused on what we put into our bodies and did an activity where we match up food labels with items around the room based on what they thought was in them. All of our learning during this time specifically focuses around the question, how can we be prepared for the race?
In addition to learning about our physical bodies, we get the honor of having Officer Owen from the Plymouth Police Department in our classroom for 4 consecutive weeks. He focuses on the DARE curriculum to teach students how to take care of themselves. Lastly, students participate in a 6 weeks course led by our local Purdue Extension representative, Catherine Beeler. Catherine teaches the students about the importance of exercise and healthy eating. All of the information is geared towards the kids and how they can make small changes in their everyday life. Learners display what they have learned by doing a creative writing benchmark based around accomplishing something that is difficult. They must include elements of agency and perseverance during a task that is difficult. They were graded on a rubric, and stories are read aloud to the entire grade level in our outdoor classroom. Finally, our biggest student product is our 5K color race. This is when all of their learning, practice, agency, and perseverance comes into play. The learning that happens is far beyond what can be graded on a scale or a rubric. Students are able to feel the feeling of success, agency, and perseverance. They all finish the race and do it together, encouraging each other on the way to the finish line. Each year, we see huge growth in every student from the beginning of training for the race to race day. It amazes us as facilitators how big of a change we do see. Another indication of success is the continued support of our community and the money raised each year.